Welcome everyone to Magic the Gathering Jank, where we talk about weird and wonderful cards you have probably never heard of. Today I want to talk about an enchantment I've recently found a home for, and that is Infernal Genesis. It is 2 black and 4 for an enchantment that reads, at the beginning of each player's upkeep, they mill a card. Then that player creates X 1/1 black minion creature tokens, where X is the milled card's converted mana cost. To summarize this card, what it does is that it takes the top card of a player's library and then gives them a creature board based on whatever they remove, whether it be, say for example, a Cultivate, being a mana cost of 3, will give them 3 minions. If they mill a land, they'll get no resources. It's an interesting card which gives everyone value for creatures, which gives less incentive to remove the card, but also gives us value in creating tokens which can be used in a multitude of different deck strategies. A couple of deck strategies you can work around this is definitely styles like Aristocrats, which really care about you having resources being available to sacrifice to gain you more value. Not to mention the fact that you can mill a card definitely fills up your graveyard in order to reincarnate some of these sources later on, or even just make a bigger board out of stuff you weren't planning on casting because it's either too late for the board state or isn't relevant in the moment. If you want an alternative way to use this as well, giving your opponents the resources can also be powerful when goad-based strategies which want your opponents to attack each other in order for them to slowly whittle each other down until you become the one with the most powerful board state remaining at the end. However, something specific I have to mention about Infernal Genesis is that recently it's seen a price increase. Normally I don't like to talk about price increases, but all of this is due to a single commander, and that is Toxrill the Corrosive, a very powerful black commander. Toxrill the Corrosive is a black and 5 legendary creature 7/7, which at the beginning of each player's end step put a slime counter on each creature you don't control. Then all creatures you don't control get -1/-1 for each slime counter on them. And finally, whenever a creature you don't control with a slime counter on it dies, create a 1/1 slug creature token. Pay a blue and a black, sacrifice a slug, draw a card. This is the epitome of why Infernal Genesis has gone up in cost, because it gets so much value because the minute the creatures come into play, if they can't do anything with those creatures, they will just die in the end step and make you a bigger board than your opponent. In my opinion, Infernal Genesis is a very interesting token creator which very much goes underlooked. It's an interesting card which allows you to put resources into the graveyard at a very slow rate, admittedly, but creates you value based on whatever goes away, creating creature tokens based on the size of whatever you remove. Bigger costing decks can definitely abuse this to create an army to protect yourself early on. Aristocrats can make sack outlets to basically push their strategies faster, and things like Toxrill just absolutely explode when your opponent's creatures get removed by this effect. This is such a simple idea, but can be played so well if you know the right workarounds with it. It's a very janky card, it doesn't have many reprints, but it's a lot of fun to try. Hopefully this card might find its way into your future decks, but until next time, happy deck building.